sometimes you really lose what drives you. You really lose what keeps you going. So I go to the barbershop often. I have a really good connection with my barber, and I asked him a question that I think not a lot of people are willing to ask other people, and it's what motivates you? What keeps you going? You feel like there's no hope left. And he told me a story that I'm gonna share with you guys that it might not be the most crazy story, but it did touch me and it did move me to say, okay, I want to keep going and I want to be able to keep pushing and motivating myself. And here it is. He said, early 2000s, there was one time early in his barbering career. So there was somebody he gave haircuts to originally when he first started giving haircuts, and he decided he didn't want to cut hair anymore. So he just stopped. He gave up. And one day somebody called him, that same somebody who he cut his hair, and he said, yo, like, are you still at the shop? Are you still working? Are you still cutting hair? And he was like, yeah, nah, I don't cut hair anymore. I don't do that. That's not me anymore. I'm not trying to do that. And the guy responded and he said, what's going on? You're the only person who really understood how to cut my hair and really understood like what I wanted in a cut. He was just like, nah, like that's not, it's not me. It's not really what I want to do anymore. Then the next day he got another call, and then he got another call, and he got another call. 4 calls from 4 different people saying, yo, like, are you at the shop? Are you still cutting hair? And after that 4th person, he said that he just felt like he had to do something. He felt like he had to do something. So he said, okay, yeah, just come to the house, come to the house. So he's got like 4 or 5 people lined up inside of his house, and he's cutting all these people's hair. All of a sudden, he got back into barbering and he got back into doing it. And now he's cutting my hair 20 years later. And that happened before I was even born. I said, so like, what is the purpose of this story? Like, what really drives you? What really allows you to be motivated? And he said, purpose and not being selfish. And those are 2 things that I think we need to really focus on when we want to motivate ourselves. So the first one is purpose. You have to have a purpose. If you don't have a purpose, if you don't have something that's driving you to keep moving, that's probably the reason as to why you're always in your head and why you're always depressed. Or if you do have a purpose and you're not moving or working towards that purpose, that's the reason why you're upset or you're depressed, because you're not actually putting the energy that you want into what you want. A lot of the times we focus on what other people think, and we focus on how other people are going to be affected by us, and because of that we don't do what we want to do. What motivated him was the purpose of helping others. It's almost like why I make these videos. It's almost like why I even want to go about making videos like this and putting out music. Hold on, when you see that you touch somebody, so when he saw that he touched just one person by cutting their hair, and he said like nobody else cuts their hair the way that he did, he said, you know what, like, even if I don't want to do this anymore, even if I feel like just giving up, even if I feel like just quitting everything, I touched just one person so much that they don't want to get their hair cut by anybody else. That's kind of crazy, and hair, it's a very delicate, it's a personal thing. Anything that you're doing is very personal. It's usually personal to you, but because of that, you're being selfish, and that's the selfishness. That's what ties into it. You don't really want to think about what other people think, so you say, oh, okay, I'm just gonna quit this. Even before I decided that I'm not gonna quit making videos, even before I decided I'm never gonna quit music, I had to think, why am I doing this? And the reason that I'm doing this, the reason that I stay motivated, the reason that I keep pushing and keep wanting to make videos is because I want to be able to touch just one person. It's hard for me to sometimes look at views, and it's hard for me to sometimes look at numbers and say, okay, well, I'm not doing as well as my peers. I'm not doing as well as other people, comparison, which is the thief of joy. What I realized is what motivates me is just seeing that I could touch just one person. What should motivate you is not selfishness and saying, oh, well, if I'm not getting all this attention, it's a problem. But look and see, is there just one person? Is there one person that you're able to touch? I know everybody's got one person that they're able to touch. And if you don't have anybody that you're able to touch, maybe that one person that you're able to touch is yourself. Maybe that one person that you're able to get to is yourself. But realize that sometimes that drive and that motivation needs to come from inside, or it needs to come from seeing that you touch somebody in such a way that you were able to change their life. Every single time I go to get a haircut, I know I'm gonna walk out feeling so much better about myself, and I wouldn't be able to feel that way if I didn't have a barber that I trusted, that I knew would cut my hair the way I wanted them to cut my hair. I felt like giving up for a minute. I just made a video on this. I felt like giving up on my passion. I felt like giving up on my dream. I'm, focusing so much on the outside things. I'm focusing on so much on what I don't have, and I'm not focusing on what I could be grateful for. I'm not focusing on what's in front of me. I'm not focusing on what I could be appreciative of. What I could be appreciative of is the 2, 3, 4 5, 8 people who might view this video. I could be focusing on the 5 or 6 people who go to stream my music. We have to realize that it's not about what you don't have, but it's about what you already do. It's not about what you can't get, but it's about what you already have. If you're so focused and you're so hyper focused on all the things that you can't get, and you're so hyper focused on all the things that you don't have already, you're gonna go crazy, and that's what's leading you to not want to motivate yourself. What is your purpose? My purpose is that I want to help others, whether it's through music, whether it's through these videos. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I have no clue how the hell I'm gonna keep pushing. What I realized was the one thing that keeps me pushing is seeing that I could touch people, seeing that I could really just touch one person. You know, I'll look on my Instagram story, I'll touch, you know, just one person, you know, somebody will just like the story. But it's like, sometimes we look at that one, like we're like, oh, well, that's not enough, you know, like, oh, my Instagram post didn't get that many likes. It only got like 15 likes. Why are you so worried about the fact that it got only 15 likes and it didn't get likes from hundreds of other people? Why don't you stop worrying about all those people who don't care and start focusing on the people who do? What can motivate you and what can push you to keep going is not focusing on the people who aren't there, not focusing on the things that you don't have, and not focusing on the things that aren't there. Focus on what's in front of you and what you do have. It could really drive you, it could really push you. And I think a lot of people's purpose could be driven by seeing how they can affect other people. And a lot of the times when you become so egotistical, you become like almost like a narcissist, and you care so much about what other people think because you want people to like you and you want people to appreciate what you got. I want people to appreciate these videos. I want people to just like my music. Let's just say that I made a video and it just blew up out of nowhere. And it was something that I just made, and I just made because I wanted to get attention. If I did that, I wouldn't really be learning anything out of it, and I wouldn't really go through any trials or tribulations, which means that eventually something would hit me. Like eventually I wouldn't be able to face people's judgments of me. I wouldn't be able to see all these things, because what you have to realize is what motivates you is your past self and seeing that other people may be motivated by seeing you. Sometimes I think about ending everything, you know, not just this career, but like, and I won't even go too deep into it, but I think you guys know where I'm going with this. And I always think, how would that affect other people though? We're always so focused on ourselves and we're so selfish that we don't think, how would our actions affect other people? You know, my barber thought about, how would him quitting that affect other people? You know, if he would have quit that, what if that one person who felt good about that haircut that he gave him, what if they just lost all their self-esteem? What if they just lost all their motivation to keep going because nobody else was able to cut their hair the way that they wanted, so they didn't like the way that they looked and they just stopped pushing? What if the many people that do watch these videos, what if I'm that person who keeps pushing them? Realize that you can't be selfish. Motivation is connected to purpose. And once you realize that sometimes your purpose is not just supposed to be for you, it's supposed to be to help other people, that's it. That's it.